Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Good morning, everybody. I hope that you're having a really, really beautiful week. I can't believe it's Wednesday, the 17th of June, 2020 already. Where has the year gone, right? I don't know about you, but I'm still working in isolation, and just between you and I'm loving it. Yes, I'm a bit of an introvert, and I can honestly say I've never been happier, and neither has Gabe, my four-legged fur baby, is just loving having me home. Well, I think he's loving having me home. I'm sure he gets equally happy when I leave to do the shopping and he gets a house to himself and he can switch off for a minute. But look, what I wanted to do today was, start a conversation with you around private practice and what it could look like. And the reason that this has come up is because I put a post up about this on Facebook this week and it got quite a lot of traction. So it's obviously something that many of you are interested in and want to talk about. But I think the main issue with having a private practice or running a private practice is unless you know what you need to know, you don't know what you need to know, and you're operating within a very limited framework without realizing it. And I'm speaking from experience here because the same thing happened to me. I was sort of educated when I was, transitioning my private practice from bulk billing to private. My education was all around, hey, you've got to have a 7-figure private practice, and these are all the steps that you need to take to do that. And so I thought, I didn't question anything, I was just thinking, oh, okay. And I was looking around and I was thinking, well, this is what everybody else is doing and they all seem to be doing, well for themselves. So I must follow this formula too. And that's what I did, right? I started introducing fees. You heard about that and how that went. I signed a big lease. You've heard about how that went. I built a big team. You've heard about the highs and lows of that. But you know what? I'm blessed and grateful to have had that journey because it really brought me to the point where I'm at today. Because had I not had all of those ups and downs, I wouldn't have found myself a few years ago questioning everything. And while it seemed to me to be a really dark space at that time, I was worried, oh, am I going to lose my practice? Am I going to have to shut shop? Will I be able to pay my mortgage? Will I have to go and do a paper round or something to pay the bills? It was a really, really dark space, but it was that dark space that found me anchoring back into things that I'd anchored into in my life in the past, like spirituality. And it was that time in my life a few years ago where, by anchoring back into my spirituality as an adult, mature woman looking at spirituality, I realized I wanted to learn more and more and more. So I went into this phase of my growth and my education that, looking back, I can see was very expansive. I learned a little bit about a lot of things, and the things I was interested in, I took further and I left the other things, right? So the things that I was interested in or feeling called toward more were things around intuition. And I now know that I'm somebody who identifies herself as an empathic, intuitive person. I think I've always had the empathy, and I think that as therapists, as private practice owners, as practitioners, I think most people that work in health have a more exaggerated or more pronounced domain on their profile of being empathic. We have to have that ability to step into our clients' shoes, see things through their eyes. We have to be able to have that more so than perhaps people that work in some other professions, like gardeners maybe, or tradespersons or something like that, don't we? Because we're dealing with people and feeling and emotion and life and personal things, all that sort of jazz. But the other thing is, I think that, and I don't know if it's just me, but I would hazard a good guess, it's for a lot of you guys too that are listening, that you probably also have quite highly developed intuitive skills. And by that I mean even little things like being able to preempt what a client might be about to say, being able to preempt where you think a client's going to want to take the exploration of their issue with you in the session that day, being able to read somebody by not just their body language, but by allowing yourself to be okay with tuning into the vibe of the room, the atmosphere of the room, all of those sorts of things. Absolutely are ways that you can tap into your intuition. And I think you're probably doing it all the time anyway. But there are certainly ways that you can take that a little bit further if you wanted to, and you can cultivate trust in your intuition for yourself outside of private practice. And then when you feel competent and confident, start using those skills to inform the direction of the business and things like that. But I'm getting off topic, because what I wanted to share with you was it was this journey of realizing, okay, this isn't working out for me. Having the big lease, having the massive team, putting all these policies and procedures into place, having all of these systems suddenly thrown into the practice, suddenly changing my client demographic, all of those things were not working for me, and I didn't know why. I could not understand why. How come they were working for other people and they were not working for me? And so anyway, I went into this emotional, mental headspace where I was questioning so much stuff that took me back to the spirituality, which then helped me realize that, hello, I was completely out of alignment. And you know what? I felt like a relief. It felt like such a relief to be able to realize that, a huge relief. But I also felt like a bit of a goose, because I thought, oh my gosh, how could I have let this happen? Like, this is so not my jam. This is not what I'm about at all. This isn't me. Of course it doesn't feel right, because it doesn't feel right, because it's out of alignment. Like, it's not okay with me to do these things in these ways. And that's why it's feeling clunky, mechanical, uncomfortable. I'm resisting it. I'm pushing against it while I'm trying to implement it. And it's creating this rotten energy that, probably wasn't great for me and was definitely affecting the practice. And so with this realization of, okay, something's not in sync with me, that then allowed me to open up the doors to explore what would feel right for me. And what would feel right for me in my practice, the way I ran the practice, the clients I worked with, the presenting problems that I wanted to work with, the fees I wanted to charge, how I wanted to be seen and market myself, how I wanted to integrate my values with the vision of the practice, and was that even possible, and why isn't anybody talking about this? And so then I became kind of obsessed with this, and I created this process around aligning your private practice back into your vision and values. And so since I've been able to do that, now I do have very successful practice and a very successful coaching business. I don't work as much as I was. I'm working a lot less than I was, to be honest. I only see a fraction of the clients I was seeing. And for me, my practice is exactly where I want it to be, because I'm a gypsy. If you hadn't noticed, I haven't been much of a gypsy this year because of COVID, okay? But I did have holidays booked. I was meant to be going to Malta. That's all on hold now. But anyway, I love traveling, and I go overseas 4 or 5 times every year. And so it was important to me to be able to do that, because traveling overseas allows me to meet with spiritual leaders, gurus, tribes. It allows me to meet with people who have knowledge around medicine knowledge, around healing knowledge, around intuition knowledge, around psychic development, all of that sort of stuff. So travel is very, very important to me. And I haven't spoken much about, that side of why I travel before, because it never felt like it was safe to do so. But now I am starting to talk more about it, and I'll be talking more about those experiences on upcoming podcasts. The reason I take those trips is because I'm looking for expansion all the time. I'm looking for growth. I'm looking for awareness. I'm looking for a broadening of my understanding. And I love to use that information when I'm working with private practice owners as clients, because different women that I work with need a different approach. I know that something I've learned from the tribal shamans in Africa is going to really help this particular client, based on her energy and her personality and what she's asking for and my read on her. But I know that approach isn't going to work for another client that I've got, who might be more around how do I use tools, and she might be more interested in something like crystal, or how do I use tarot to help guide my direction with my private practice. So I can talk to her about those sorts of things. And then somebody else might be interested in some tool or approach or meditation that I learned from leaders in Morocco. And that's not going to work with everybody. But for me, I have my own toolbox now of all these different approaches that I can draw upon to use with individual private practice owners, that's going to work for them, empower them, resonate with them. And so what I want to share with you is that the reason you might be feeling out of sorts with your private practice might be because it's out of alignment with what you truly want, with how you want to operate. You might not be into charging high fees, and so when you have conversations with clients around fees, it's not working out for you. You might not want to have a 7-figure practice and be driven by money. Maybe you're not motivated by money. Maybe you're motivated by purpose. And so being told you've got to make 7 figures is bringing up resistance for you, because it's conflicting. It's out of alignment with what you really want for the practice. Okay. You don't have to do what everybody else is doing, is my message today. My message to you today is, it is absolutely safe. I'll say it again. It is absolutely safe for you to create a model of private practice that's right for you. And it does not have to look like what someone or what everybody else is doing. All right? It's absolutely safe. But here's the thing, you need to know what you want to create first. Okay? When you're out of alignment, when your practice is out of alignment with your purpose, when it's out of alignment with your vision and values, you're going to have difficult times in the practice, I believe. In my opinion, you're going to have difficult times in the practice. I think things are going to be harder than they need to be. You're probably going to be working more hours than you really need to work for not much more turnover, to be honest. I think you're going to have trouble attracting team members to the practice because the energy's off, and people pick up on that when they read your job ad, or when they talk to you, or when they come in for an interview and they see you're tense, or they see that you're desperate to hire and you're just like throwing the job at them before the interview's even finished. It's all those invisible energetic things that you might not be aware of, but everybody else around you sees and feels. So what I want to say is, it is safe for you to step back from the model that you've been taught is the correct model, because there's no one model. The correct model is the model that's going to work for you, that's going to work for you, for your team, for your clients, for your third-party stakeholders. But guess what? You are the director of your practice. So you have to be the master and commander of your ship, right? Everybody's going to be looking to you for the direction. And that means you have to stand strong in your purpose. You have to stand strong in your vision, and you have to stand strong in your values, because how are we all going to follow you if we don't know where you're going and you're giving us mixed messages? So in order for you to create the private practice that you really, really want to have, the first thing that you need to do, of course, is create that vision in your mind of what you want that to look like. And you do that by asking yourself questions like, if the money was taken care of and I was able to run my dream private practice, who would I be seeing? Who would I be working with? Where would I be attracting my clients from? What sort of presenting issues would I get to work with? How many days a week would I get to work? How many clients would I get to see? What would the vibe of my practice be? How much of this would be online and how much would be offline? How many holidays would I take a year? What would my take-home income be? Right? These are all journal prompts that you can use. So if you're listening to this, hit pause and then maybe hit rewind, go and write these down and come back and journal through them. Because when you do, you're going to start to uncover what a vision of your private practice could look like. And you need to have that vision, because that vision is going to create the blueprint for the private practice. And here's the thing, the more aware you become of what feels right for you and the more aligned you become to that, the more flexible you become as well. Because guess what? Here's the other thing. When you're open to operating in alignment, it means that you're also open to expansion. And expansion means that you're also open to evolution. Evolution means transformation. Evolution means growth. Evolution means shifts, right? Which means that over time, you're going to be okay with the evolution of your practice. So what the aligned vision might look like today is going to change in 2 years when you've hit your goals, because then you're going to have a new goal, right? And so you have this awareness that everything's changing all the time. Things are temporary, but you get to choose the path. You get to set the course for how you want the private practice to go. And I just think that that's such a beautiful, beautiful place to be. And this is powerful stuff. And this is why clients approach me and they say, are you taking on any clients at the moment? I need help with my practice. You know, something's off here and I don't know what it is. And of course, I want to find out what's going on for them so that I can help. And I've got 2 ways of helping. One way is people can have one-to-one coaching with me where they get private Zoom sessions and we can do all of that. And we do it in 90 days so that they can get some, rapid results and build their confidence. But the other way that we can do that too is in something that's a bit less intensive. And that's in a way where I can hold some safe space for you, where you can be in a small group of other women who are private practice owners, who are also finding what alignment means for their practice, who are also dealing with staff issues, hiring issues, finding the right fit for their practice, rebranding, creating alignment with their vision and their purpose and their values, adjusting their fees, doing all of those sorts of things. And in that group, they access group coaching and group calls, and there's learning units, and there's PDFs, and there's worksheets, and there's live calls. And just for fun, on Tuesday nights, we get together and totally just for fun, I ask them, if you want a tarot reading, let me know. So now we've started doing, just for fun, some tarot readings. And they're all able to have one a month if that's what they want. And we can, just play around and give them an overview of perhaps what might be in the cards for their practice. Because here's the thing, anchoring into your intuition, anchoring into that abundance of knowledge, anchoring into expansion is going to look different for everybody. And we all need different tools. Some of us will use tools like meditation to help inform the practice. Some of us will use tools like working with a crystal, and you won't always need to work with a crystal. A crystal is just like training wheels on a bike. You get to a point of learning how to ride the bike where you no longer need the wheels. And it's the same with things like crystals. Crystals are tools that you use while you're learning how to do something, right? Some will like that. Some will want to have open conversations. Some will want to learn how to cultivate their intuition. Some will want to learn more about making money through masculine drive or feminine flow. Others will want to learn how to create a vision for their practice, but they want some guidance through maybe a reading, using oracle cards as part of their daily practice. Before they start work in the practice each day, they might have an oracle deck. I do. My favorite deck that I'm working with at the moment is the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. I think they're just beautiful cards. But you can draw a card in the morning and it can kind of help you set an intention for the day or give you some guidance around what you might want to keep top of mind for the day. And you can keep a journal about that as well and cultivate a sense of connection with that card and a sense of connection with that intention, and see over time. Try it for 30 days or try it for 40 days, and you'll come to realize whether or not using an oracle card is something that works for you. And it will work for some people, and other people won't connect into that. Other people will need something like a meditation to connect into, or they will need a journal prompt to connect into. But you need to try these things consistently in order to find out how you cultivate a strong connection with your purpose, with your vision, with your soul's purpose, with your higher self, with your higher consciousness. You know what I mean? It's a very personal thing. It's a very private thing. There's no one way. And what works for you today might be, using a meditation, but what might work for you in 6 months might be something like, using a crystal or journaling or mindful walks on the beach or listening to ambient music or binaural beats and things like that. Okay? You just have to find what works for you. But here's the thing, if you're unhappy in your private practice, if you know that something needs to be different, but you're not sure what, and you're wanting some support, please contact me. I will put the information in the show notes. There's my email. I'll also give you some information about the small group that I've got that's just for private practice owners and directors. And I'll also put some information there for you for those of you who would like to apply for some coaching. And I'm here for you. I'm not going anywhere, guys. I'm here for you, and I want to hold that space for you so that you have that safe space to explore some of this stuff and see whether or not it's right for you. Okay? I want you to really feel into what the right choice is for you in terms of your next steps, because you know and I know that something needs to change in the practice. Okay? And it's always easier to do that when you have some support from someone who's been through it themselves and come out the other side, right? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast today. I will see you on Saturday. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.